Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's a beautiful Sunday morning, isn't it? And you're kicking it with those boots, so it really makes it really special. All right, it's time to sing. All right, yeah. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Come on. Come on. Brother, come on.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, yeah. All right. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 My soul is welcome here.
What's that for?
All right. All right. Now you know you gotta be here for this one.
Yeah.
Okay. All
I
right.
just noticed how we all look like we go together on that.
Yes, we all got the memo, didn't we?
Oh,
We need some of that tambourine work, Doris.
I know.
Where's your mind? Where's your mind? Where's your tambourine? There she goes.
God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every midnight. God, you are every moment, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am. you are. Every sunrise, God, you are. Every moon glow, God, you are. Every star shines, every inch of earth and sky, God, you are. Every springtime, God, you are. Every snowfall, God, you are. Every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. 'Cause you are the very breath I breathe. And your perfect love created me. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you.
Thank you, ladies. That was awesome. That was awesome. Sandy, you gave out on the second song?
Well, I was bringing up the rear.
Okay. And, you know, Sandy always says she can't sing, but I think she was doing just fine.
I think she was doing just fine.
So you can't
Somebody
use
has
that
to
for an
be the
excuse
rear.
anymore. What'd you say?
Somebody has to be the
Oh
rear.
my goodness. You gotta take off your glasses because it's on your mic.
Please. Welcome home, everybody. It's the day before Martin Luther King Day, right?
All right.
Yes. And Aiden came home from school Friday and said, was it Friday or Thursday? Now I can't remember. Any one of those days. Said, I got to watch the movie of Martin Luther King today. And he was such a nice guy and he did all these nice things. But I just don't believe somebody shot him in the end. That's what he said. And I said, well, they did. But I said, you know, he did do a lot of great things and stuff. And then they had told him about the Civil Rights Museum, you know, in Memphis. Have you guys ever been there? I'll tell you what, it'll move you.
Yeah.
Oh. So anyway, I said someday we'll have to go there and see it. Because we took the other kids. Time to take these kids. Anyway, it's time to say hello. Welcome home. Let's begin with prayer. So we open up to the one presence, one power of God, and we know that we are here by divine appointment to be and do all that we are meant to do and be. And it is in that place we open up and are receptive to anything that is ours to learn, anything that will help us grow in this spiritual journey we call life. And as we go forth today, we are grateful for the ability to come together in fellowship and fun and just to enjoy a Sunday on this beautiful day. And so together we say, thank you, God. Together.
Thank you, God.
And so it is.
Amen.
And our statement of being,
There is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotent.
And our mission statement together?
Unity East of Atlantic Church is dedicated to teaching practical Christianity as taught by Jesus Christ. This ministry acknowledges the presence of God within through affirmation and prayer. And our statements of truth. I am a child of God. I am deserving of good in my life. I am accepting my good now.
Yay.
I am celebrating today.
All right. All right.
What are you celebrating?
I'm celebrating that Becky's here, first of all, and all the people, most people survived the terrible storm that we had come through. So
Oh, yes.
I'm celebrating that. So Becky, did you have to,
Becky got it.
did you have to get away from drive around some limbs?
Yes,
Okay, I believe
I
it.
have passed by the trailer park that was destroyed, and it was
Oh.
terrible.
That's amazing nobody got hurt in that.
There was there were 19 people injured in the whole, I guess, town. No deaths.
Oh, I
And
didn't
there
know there
were
was that
peop-
many injured. I didn't even know
There were
that.
people trapped under the
Wow.
trailers.
No, yeah, that's,
Y'all probably know more about it than I do. I have been without internet or anything for 3 days. I don't know. I'm just
These
getting
things are
secondhand
bumpy.
information from Ava, who is not all that reliable. She sends the picture that she did put on Facebook. That was my mother's house.
Oh, wow.
That was destroyed.
yeah.
Oh.
She lived in it for many years.
Well,
In-
yeah.
In fact, I was living there with her when Bill and I got married, so,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So it was, and,
I'm glad nobody else was hurt or nobody was, you
Yeah.
know, killed, you know. Those things are wild. We've seen that devastation before in Kansas.
I'm sure.
Well, I do have to tell you a tornado story. Maybe I don't know if I told everybody here at all, anyway. That one that, I had to bring the pictures. Have I brought the pictures of Mark's house got destroyed, my brother? He was in the house at the time.
Ooh.
Anyway, that's a different story, but
Well, no, but they always tell you to go to the bathtub. It is a good story. They always tell you to go to the bathtub, but he got in the bathtub and he said God told him to go to the closet, and it was like a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom mini ranch, you know. And when you walk in the door, you know how there's a closet right there, coat closet. So he said he went in that coat closet and got in there. The only thing that was left of that house was that coat closet, and it had gotten pushed down, so he couldn't get out the door.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was leaning over like this, and they finally, and he couldn't get a hold of him because there was no way. And then they weren't letting people in there.
I got in there before the
But-
police did.
Yeah, but he got in there and helped him get out. But
No, I didn't help him get out. He
Oh,
was gone.
somebody else
I was
already
still
did?
concerned. That wasn't part of the story I was going to
anyway, but we got pictures of it and everything. It's amazing. But he said God just told him to go to that closet. So sometimes the bathtub isn't the best place because those things get sucked up too.
somebody else told me a story about, they saw a house that was completely demolished, nothing standing except the closet.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about that closet. I don't know what it is.
And the
Anyway.
chimneys. There's always chimneys sticking up
Yeah,
somewhere.
well,
Yeah, but yeah, if one of those come down though, you're gonna be crushed.
True.
Go ahead. What were you telling?
The
I
only
thought that's
part,
what you said.
no, that's all right, it was during the same system. I went over to see my dad because I was concerned about him, and when I got out of my truck at the time, and I walked up to his house, you know, there were tornado warnings everywhere because there was a lot of tornadoes happening at that time. And so I was going up to the house, and one formed right above me, and the debris, it was so weird, you know, little grass clippings and everything. There's one forming right above, and they started rising. All that stuff come up instead of, you know, you have debris coming, that stuff started coming up. And that tornado didn't form all the way, but it definitely started right there. It was the weirdest experience I've ever had as far as stuff coming up from the ground. I thought, oh, I better get inside.
That is scary
Better
though.
find that closet.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. There was youth church last week. They made an altar as you guys were here, you know, and they used the little stones and made stones for their altar, and they got the little love heart going. And there they are. Isn't that the cutest thing? I can't believe she got that picture. Them giving each other a kiss, sharing the love, brothers. It's so sweet. But look at their little stones on here. Isn't that sweet? They really are doing good. And if anybody's watching this, bring your kids because I'm telling you what, they're learning lots. Okay, the class. You can go on Unity. If you Google "Why Not Be Rich" and go to Truth Unity, there's a little description about the class. I was going to try to have more information today, and I forgot. Well, I got busy. Let me say that. I didn't forget. Anyway, but it's going to start on the 18th. That's this Wednesday at 10, and it's going to be great fun. It's we'll play an audio of her talking, and then we'll have handouts. Whoops, I didn't want that to come up yet. Anyway, I got to get those timings off. It's this
Okay.
particular slides that do it. Anyway, it'll be great fun. So join us. This we want to say is special. You had this posted on Facebook, and I just lifted it off and put it up there. Blessings for Lynn and Kat. This is Bubba. Lynn's horse and Kat's horse that had to make his transition this week. But I loved what she wrote and had to say goodbye to a trusted steed tonight. Bubba will truly be missed. I heard the thunder this evening. You carried many and was good to all. Thank you for all your years of pleasure. It was beautiful. And that's the picture of the boy. That's the horse the boy's got a picture on too. And I had just said, oh God.
I rode him. She let me on him.
Well, that was nice.
I fell off of him.
He
You're
was
not
a
supposed to
good
do
looking
that
horse,
part.
though. He was a good looking horse, that's
He
for
is.
sure.
He's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So it was funny because then Ada and JW, I showed it to him and they go, Lynn's a cowboy? I said, duh. He goes, oh, yeah. And then he said, she's a cowgirl. That's what he said after that. But first he said cowboy because your hat and everything. All right, enough of that. Prayer time. You guys have to pray for my thumb. Warren gave me
Oh, it's going to be blamed on me?
Rata knives for Christmas. I've been wanting them forever. Have you ever heard of them? Oh my God, they are fabulous knives.
What kind?
R-A-D-A.
R-A-D-A. I'm not kidding you. They are, it's like cutting with butter. I'm not kidding you.
I love
It's
their
like-
tomato
I did get one
no
of those.
matter how mushy that tomato is, it will slice it.
That's
Well,
good.
you know, and on Reels and YouTube and all this stuff, you know, they show you those big chef knives. So I got one of those too, and I had put it in the sink because you're supposed to hand wash them. So I have one of those little handle scrub things, and somehow or another I was like scrubbing like this, and I just sliced my thumb, and it was probably what was it 7:30? This was Thursday night, 7:30, and I said I probably should go get stitches, but 7:30 on a Thursday night at the ER would not have been fun at all. So I said, well, I'm just going to tape it up and let it regenerate. There's where the word is used correctly. Regenerate. Yeah.
Okay. I hope it does regenerate.
Well, that's what it does when it
Well,
heals. It heals back together. It's regenerating, isn't
That's
it?
true.
Your skin
Growing
is-
new skin. Anyway, those things are sharp. It didn't even hurt. That's the weirdest part because it's so sharp. It just was like a little slice. I was like, ooh, I think I might need stitches. But then I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Wrap that sucker up.
So I'm glad Becky made it again because she's going to be the prayer chaplain today. So thank you, Becky. If you want one-on-one prayer, go see her out in the hallway.
Did that jump by itself?
No? Did you put it to that?
Oh, there. Okay.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I was looking at over here. That's why I said that about putting me on the prayer list.
So if you do have a prayer slip,
Reverend
you
Francis.
should.
Reverend Francie,
Yes.
I'd just like to make a little announcement, little advance notice. The Covington Lions Club yearly chili supper
Oh,
is going to be the 23rd of February.
Oh, okay.
So it's over a month away, but I just want to let you know.
Well, I had asked you about it, remember?
I go.
So that's good. I was thinking it was in February, though, for some reason.
That's what I thought.
Okay. Well, you'll have
we have
tickets
chili
for
today,
Sep-
too.
Yeah, we do have chili today.
So,
Yes?
go ahead.
Prayer request? Oh,
I have a prayer for my Uncle Jerome and Aunt Vester. Aunt Vester is my daddy's baby sister, and she's had Parkinson's, but I guess it's getting really bad, and he spent the whole I want to keep this for just a second. She spent the whole all the holidays in the hospital with her,
oh.
and his kids. He's got 2 boys, and of course, I think they're both in Florida or one's in Virginia Beach or something. So he does not have a lot of support and help. So I want.
So we want health and strength?
Yes, for both of them.
Yes, and
Cause he's 81.
Where are they at?
In Detroit.
Detroit.
In Detroit, he's 81. My aunt, let's see, mom is 80. I don't know. She might be 72 or something.
Your mom's 90.
Right, I'm counting backwards because
okay.
my mom and my dad were the same age.
Oh.
And his one sister, Harriet, was 6 years younger, and Vester was 6 years younger than that, 12
Okay.
years. So. And then I also, for my good friend Mart, she's a nurse. And
What'd you say?
Mart. It's spelled M-A-R-T-H-E.
Okay.
She, you would have met her at the party, but her father passed January 1st.
Oh,
So,
so comfort and peace for her.
mhm. And then one more, a friend of ours, Ivers, who works on our RV, he had to move his wife's mother and father in. And I think one of them is actually bedridden.
Oh, wow.
So just, you know,
So strength for
yes,
him.
yes, and his wife. Yes.
Who else? Okay.
Mickey.
How about the Presleys?
Oh, Presley.
Priscilla Presley lost a daughter, a grandson, a husband, ex-husband, but
Yeah.
they've really had it bad.
Yeah. We send
Yes,
them
ma'am.
comfort and peace.
Keep Dee Dee and Al.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I had that on there first, so.
Okay.
But I didn't say it, but go ahead.
Well, Dee Dee's taking care of her dad. He's still in the hospital.
Mm.
Hopefully he will come back today. Home.
Good.
I don't know. We don't know yet.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
I know.
You're feeding.
I got the rhythm.
I put on here all the people affected by the storm too. What were you gonna say, Sandy?
Prayers for, and I don't know, Saria, Sareya. She's the granddaughter of one of our favorite waitresses at CeeLo. She's a, what do you call it, a 1 diabetic.
Type 1.
Type
Yeah.
1, yeah. And her sugar went really high and they don't know why, so she had to go to the hospital. She's 3.
3.
Oh.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So we're gonna let's send some healing prayers to her for sure. Yes.
Yes.
Nice to see you all. I'm new in this area and I'm looking for affordable housing. If anybody has any resources, I would appreciate prayer.
Okay.
Okay.
First.
Do you want to tell her about that place later in Covington
What?
that you said something about? Okay.
Y'all, her name is,
Ron, they call me Ron.
Ron.
so we'll put Ron on there to get her some housing.
That's right.
All right.
Start to say something else.
And Rosemarie will talk to you after service about something that might work for you.
Thank you.
Who else has got prayer requests? Anybody?
wanna
Yeah,
put-
I got one.
Okay, Lynn.
Let's do a prayer for the football player. Georgia got killed this morning.
Oh, I didn't hear.
Who?
Yeah, one of the UGA players. Yeah.
Really?
In a car
Uh-huh.
crash.
Which
And
one was it, do you know?
number 77.
77.
Devlin or Devin something.
But it was 2 killed in the car wreck. He and a staff member.
Uh-huh.
I think it was 4 in there,
And
right?
4. One went home, but one is in critical condition.
Hmm.
So it's 4 in the car.
So,
Then last week we prayed for my cousin Ian. He made his transition this week, so I want to pray for all his family.
okay, what else? Anybody? All right. Come on up here. Reverend Warren's going to pray over the prayer requests.
Okay, we just take a moment to recognize our part in prayer. Our part is to open up our hearts and our minds to those who need prayer and be empathetic, understanding that they need prayer and to offer it for them, but offer it in a way that God is going to be in the situation. We're not going to intervene. We're going to allow God to do what God does, and that is good. So as we allow God to do that mighty work, we release any kind of concern, and we know that all is going to be good. And so it is. Amen.
Amen. All right.
Thank you. That's all right.
That next week.
Daily word is going to be read
I was
by, there you
asked
go,
to
come
read it.
on up, come on down, whatever. The Daily Word. What do you have? Are you on?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
The word for today is world peace.
That's a good one.
To do the
Miss America.
Miss America wave on that. I rest my heart in the peace of God. Around the world, so many souls are joining me in my prayer for peace. While the news may be giving more attention to points of conflict, there is a striving and a yearning in the human heart for peace. My prayer supports that desire and strengthens the bonds of love that lead to greater harmony. I begin my affirmation of world peace with a soft and open heart. I am comforted as I realize the advances the world's people have made over the generations to live together harmoniously. I make an effort to live a more peaceful life and bridge the gaps of understanding between myself and those around me. I focus my attention upon our shared desire, a peaceful world of cooperation and goodwill. This is my heartfelt prayer. And from Isaiah 26:3, those of steadfast mind you keep in peace because they trust in you. World peace.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you. That's too low.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. I can hear the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
As we take that presence and we realize that it is in this place and in each of us, we relax and we are fully supported by the chair we are in, just releasing any tension, any worries, any concerns. And after releasing, we just understand that we are in the one presence of God. As we do so, we enter into a time of quiet, into a time where we join the silence and will commune with God. Thank you, God, for this oneness that is always available to us. That each of us can share with you all the concerns, all the questions that we may have in life, and release them in doing so into your ever-loving care, and be comforted by the knowledge that you are there and you will always be there. And I never walk alone. With this knowing, we go forth to a beautiful day, a beautiful week, and a wonderful life. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Be careful what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My message this morning is titled Beyond Life, and if you saw the newsletter, you know this is about near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, and also the spiritual aspect behind it all. But I think that this message kind of came together after having so many deaths or transitions happening lately, and also a lot of discussion that goes around them. And I think a lot of people question about death and dying. They have a lot of questions. They're curious, and I think that's just normal. You know, people ask what will happen when we die. And a lot of people will automatically have an answer, like one with God or whatever. But when it happens to someone in your family close to you, or whether it's a pet or a loved one, a sister, a brother, whatever, you know, you start getting more questions. It could be your mother even. You might even start thinking about these questions. Why do they have to go through this? Why did they have to die now? What if they weren't religious or spiritual? What happens? And I think the validation for me about what happens to us when we leave this existence, this life, is looking at some of these near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences, because I feel like that these experiences help us understand, you know, what is out there beyond this now moment. And they're becoming more and more popular, and people call them NDEs. They don't really say out-of-body experience anymore. They'll say near-death experiences and then call them NDEs. But my first encounter with an NDE was when I was in my 20s, believe it or not. And, what happens beyond life? And I had a client who was a Wichita lineman, and you know the song and everything. Well, he was absolutely a Wichita lineman. And he was called out one day during the storms to go fix some lines out on these county roads that had these big gullies and stuff, and the storm had filled up the gully with water, and he had to climb up the pole to fix the cable. So he had climbed up the pole, and he was fixing the cable, and he had the cable in his hand even, and lightning struck the pole and slammed him down into the water with the cable, and it electrocuted him. It went through his palms and threw out his whole body and blew out his calves, out the back of the calves. The electricity did. Of course, everybody that was working with him thought he was dead. I mean, they didn't think he was going to survive this at all, but they have a hook or something that they pull him out of the gully, and then called an ambulance, and they met them because they couldn't do a helicopter because of the storm. So they met them on the roads, the county roads, and got him to the hospital, and revived him, of course, and everything. And when they got him to the hospital, they decided they were going to medevac him to Houston, to Baylor. And so they got him on the plane, and he didn't remember any of it until he got on the plane. And he remembers being on the plane, and he remembers getting to Baylor and them resuscitating him again. But in that moment, he realized that he was in an out-of-body experience, that he was seeing himself from above through this whole ordeal. And he said it was about that time that he realized he was, floating above his body, that this angel came to him and talked to him and said, well, I'm going to take you on a little journey. And so he said that she took him into this bright light. And he said he felt so much peace, and it was so beautiful. And through this whole ordeal, he didn't feel any pain. That was what kind of triggered him realizing that he was out of his body, because he says, why am I not feeling this while they're working on me? But anyway, she said, you don't feel pain in this existence. There's nothing negative. There's no anger or hate or any of this. You are in this essence of God, and you won't feel anything that you're feeling in the human form. So he says, well, then I want to stay here. He told her that. She said, well, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go back. And he said, oh, he said, is it my brother? And she said, yeah, you still have work to do with your brother. Well, his brother he had like multiple diagnoses, but, he was kind of like Down syndrome and several things mixed together, and they had put him in a mental institution. And so he went and visited him every week, and he was his power of attorney. So he said, so you're saying I need to go back for my brother? And she said, yes. And he said, okay, I'll go back. And he goes, but wait, is this going to hurt? And she said, oh, it'll hurt for a while, but you're going to get through this, and you're going to have enough strength to just be fine. Wow. And when he's telling me this, and I think, you talk about goosebumps and stuff, and you could tell he didn't tell very many people this story. So I was intrigued, and I believed every word of it. I mean, I didn't doubt him one bit through the whole story. It was like you just knew it was true. So then I said to him, well, let me see your hands. And sure enough, on the palms of his hands, you could see where it had burned and come through. And then he said, well, I might as well show you my calves, too. And he pulled up his pants, his jeans, and he had boots on. So he kind of slipped his foot up and showed me the back of his calves. And the same kind of mark almost was on the back of his calves. And it was just like, God, what an experience. And he says, I have never worried about dying since then. And he said, all my friends and stuff from work and stuff, they thought I was not going to make it. But he said, when I saw that angel, I knew I was supposed to come back. And I thought that was really validating for me, to see that somebody could go through this and be able to tell the story. But you could tell he was hesitant about telling it, and that he hadn't told very many people. And, this was when I was in my 20s, so it was a number of years ago, and people just didn't talk about it back then. But it reaffirmed for me the power of God and God's love for us. It also reminded me of how heaven is a sacred place, an accepting place of peace and love. And that's what he said. He said it just felt like love was all around him, and just like a blanket of love was on him. And there's many wonderful stories about NDEs and out-of-body experiences. And if you remember, I have shared this in the past. We did a little workshop one time on Anita Moorjani's. Maria would know probably, because it was like the first year we were here, or second year. But on Anita Moorjani's book, Dying to Be Me. And she was a woman who had cancer throughout her whole body. And she truly believed that she had caused the cancer by all the stress and worries that she had piled on herself. But they proclaimed her dead, and she had a near-death experience and realized she had to come back too. But she said when she came back, and she tells us in her book, and she has a website and everything, that the cancer was gone. Her body was so ravaged from the cancer that it took her a while to build up strength and regain, her abilities again. But the cancer was gone when she came back from this experience. Another one was that Bill has shared some with me lately, and one was Penny Whitbrot. I think I say her name right. She's an ICU nurse. And then the other one was Dr. Eben Alexander, a neurosurgeon. And we studied that book once too, back in whenever it was. It was in the early years of us being here, Proof of Heaven. That's another great book to read. And even go to his website, watch the videos, whatever. But Bill had sent me these two videos, and when I first started watching Dr. Eben Alexander, I didn't realize who he was at first. And then I went, when they said, the book Proof of Heaven, I went right over to my bookshelf. Now, you guys know how many books we have, a ton. But I pulled it right off the shelf, and I was just like, wow. And I had quotes marked in there because his experience, and both of these people had been around people who had made their transitions and came back. So, but yet they didn't think about NDEs before this. only when they had their own experience. So it changed the whole story. But I want to show you a little bit of the video from Eben Alexander, just the beginning part, because I think it's really powerful. It kind of makes statements about near-death experiences.
More than 90% of people believe there is an afterlife.
I faded from reality, and
the next thing after that I remember was seeing myself on the emergency table, and they were working on me, trying to revive me.
being brought up this tunnel of light.
I was feeling all this love and this acceptance.
An hour later, the doctor came out and she said she was fine. And out of nowhere, she just asked when she can see God again.
Most people are raised to believe that we are born, we age, and then we die. It's the natural cycle of life to death. Easy to see and understand, but what do you believe happens after we die? This is where opinion splits. Some have spiritual practices or experiences that describe our afterlife. Some believe in what they can see, touch, and measure. But can your beliefs on the afterlife change? I wasn't sure until I heard of Dr. Eben Alexander, a neurosurgeon who went through a near-death experience in 2008.
He was a man of science. He didn't believe in it.
When I was younger, I thought a heaven and a loving God made sense, but through my academic neurosurgery career, I saw less and less that could be the case. I started out in a primitive earthworm eye view, very coarse, unresponsive realm, which I think in retrospect was the best consciousness my brain could muster when it was soaking in pus and the neocortex, the human part of the brain, was being destroyed. But then I was rescued from that by a slowly spinning white light into a beautiful, ultra-real, idyllic valley filled with life and growing plants with butterflies, sparkling pools of water, angelic choirs up above emanating tremendous, awesome, and joy and beauty in these incredible anthems, chants, and hymns that came down from above, and then ascended up beyond that into realms beyond all time and space.
During his experience, he was taken to a heaven-like place where everything he thought he knew about neuroscience was proven wrong. Shortly after, he wrote the best-selling book titled Proof of Heaven. What I find...
And there's a lot more to it, and you can watch it on YouTube if you want to, but or read the book, either way. But I think what's really interesting that there were several things that popped out to me about his story. And he said that this angel or spirit guide came and had a message for him, just like my friend did when I was in my 20s, the Wichita lineman. And he said it came in 3 parts, and here's the 3 parts. He said, the angel told him, and he doesn't really call it an angel. I think he kind of relates it to God, but he calls it this energy. You are loved and cherished dearly forever. You have nothing to fear. These are statements that are so profound to me. There is nothing you can do wrong. Think about that. If you had that validation from God right in your own existence, in your own mind, which we can open up and hear these same messages. And if we do that, we take that in, it can change a lot of things. You are loved and cherished dearly forever. That kind of love is powerful. You have nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. We talk about this a lot when we talk about faith. There is nothing you can do wrong. So it doesn't matter what you've done in your past or what you're doing right now. You have nothing that is wrong. It's all wiped away. And another point that stood out to me that he said in his book is, the universe has no beginning or end, and God is entirely present within every particle of it. You know, think about that. I mean, the air we're breathing, our hands, our bodies, everything. God is in every particle. And the Penny, I'm going to talk about her next, but she even said that God told her that God is in our DNA and showed her this spiral of DNA and showed right where it was. And I think it'd be so cool. I don't know if they have figured out that there is a God element in our DNA yet or not, or something that we all have in common. But think about that. I mean, a lot of people are, do these tests and to find out who their family is or whatever. But if you think about doing a test that we're all connected by that element of God, I mean, that is huge. But anyway, so Penny Whitbrock's experience was really similar, and she had a message that was really quite impressive. And it was interesting to me because she wanted to keep this message to herself. She said she felt like it was a love letter from God to her. But God kept telling her, no, you have to go share it. And actually when she came back from the near, because she had brought on something on herself too, and she finally figured out she was the one doing it by having these conversations with God. But anyway, she had several times, what was it, like 8 times or something, right? 18 times that she had near-death experiences, and each one brought her deeper and deeper. And but God kept telling her, you have to go share it. Well, every time she would have this, she would just stay home and stay hovered at home, afraid to go out in the world because she was afraid somebody was going to give her something or whatever because her body was a little weak or whatever. So she just stayed home, didn't go out and people would invite her out and she would not go. And one guy invited her to come because he knew she had had near-death experience, asked her to come to this group and speak to this group that he belonged to. And she wouldn't go. And she was God finally said, you have to start sharing this or this is going to continue to keep happening. And the minute she went out and started sharing it, it was gone. It was just gone. So anyway, this Fillmore says this, and I love this quote, and it was a God thing for me to find it, because this is what we've talked about around here sometimes too. You get a spiritual message and you get something turned on within you, you are supposed to go out and share it. You are supposed to go out and live it. And that's what God was telling Penny. You have to start sharing this and living this. This might be your love letter, but it's your love letter to share. And so our spiritual experiences need to be shared. And Fillmore wrote this, having once seen truth, having once had the illumination, you find that the next step is to demonstrate it and not be cast down or discouraged by the opposite. If we're sitting at home not going out and sharing our good that we have been blessed with, then we are not helping ourselves and we're not helping anybody out there. We have to go out and live it, demonstrate it, make it part of our lives. And I thought it was so apropos that these two quotes, go together with what she was struggling with. And here's what she wrote, or what her letter from God was. And I've got it broken up here, but I'm going to try to read it off this instead of up there. Such a folly to think that anything escapes my knowing, as when you were with me all at once, all that I allowed you to know, you knew. This is God talking to her and talking to each of us. No words were spoken, nor were they shouted. I whispered them in your spirit. I discreetly filled you with knowing. Knowing flows into you as effortlessly as taking a breath. Is it not so? No truer words have ever been spoken or written. The great I am is in your core. The great I am is the light. Even when I am hidden, still, I am as my energy charges, sending me to each snaps in your brain. Those small fibers knew that I am. They rose and fell to the rhythm I created, to the symphony that I conducted, I composed. I consider it as a tragic comedy of arrogance when the man denies what the smallest intervention knows. Man thinks he acts and moves outside of my knowledge. How could it be so? I say, I proclaim he does not. His own fibers clutched themselves, laughing at the idea. I am the flower, the wind, the rain, the scene, the morrow, the rock, the author, the maker, the touch that set in motion all that you can see, all that you know, and all that you don't see or know. I knit you. I put breath in you. I'm coated in every cell. Every nanosecond of time falls in steps as I will it so. I am in you. I am all. Even when you perceive nothing, still I am there. As I tell you this here and now, pressing my truth into your breast, Your very heart presses it further in. Amen.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
And doesn't that sound like capital T truth?
It does.
And doesn't it sound like unity?
Mm-hmm.
There's similarities in there that are so powerful, so cool. And I think that, when we take a breath and we realize that we are that beingness of God on this planet, we have to lift our consciousness in this place of knowing that these words are true. God is in that very breath that we have. From Adam's Smashing Power of Mind, Fillmore wrote, "When the white heat of God life comes upon man, there is exaltation and transfusion of elements. The result of soul exaltation is a finer soul essence, forming the base of a new body substance. The passing away of the dross of materiality is a form of death. The minute we become enlightened, illumined, know the truth, then we are casting away and letting the things die that we don't need any longer around us. And we become more of a spiritual being that we are meant to be." When I was watching some of these videos and going back through the couple of the books and stuff and thinking about these near-death experiences, there were several things that popped up to me that were similar. And here's a few of them. They all saw themselves outside of their bodies. So they saw themselves looking down at what was the dead body. So their spirit self was more or less floating. I believe that our spiritual self does that from time to time throughout our lifetime, not just when we have a near-death experience. There's sometimes, don't you feel like you're just like lighter than air, like your spirit is just singing to your soul?
Yep.
They no longer felt pain, sadness, disappointment, anger, or anything negative. Just think, if we could activate those cells in our bodies every time we had a pain, if we say, hey, God's working in this cell. This cell can be fixed. And like Warren mentioned last week or whatever, 2 years it took Myrtle to heal her body. But you think about God being in every cell. They all saw a bright light. I love this because in Unity, we have always thought of the light as being that Spirit of God that is speaking to us. And, that's why we light a candle. That's why we have a burning bowl. That's why we have the candle lighting service, to represent that spiritualness of ourselves. They usually had a spirit guide and or felt as if they were directly communicating with God. Now that can happen again to us every single day. We don't have to have a near-death experience to have that. Right. But we have to be open and receptive to it. We have to realize that the Spirit of God is right here, right now, and can speak to us no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing. They totally felt as if they could trust the situation. They knew it was real. So they didn't get freaked out and didn't want to share it with people. I mean, some of them did at a certain level, but they knew what was happening to them was truth. They didn't doubt what was happening. They didn't try to discount it. They affirmed it for themselves, and it took them a minute to share it out into the world. Time felt expansive. Some felt as if they traveled through time. And that's another thing I think that was really huge about this, is the idea that they felt like time was just beyond this very now moment. And even when they had the experience outside of their bodies, when they came back into their bodies, they had no idea of how much time had gone by. So if you think about that, when we die and our spirit goes on, then maybe we don't even realize how much time has gone by. It might feel like yesterday we were kissing and loving on our loved ones. I don't know. But it's kind of a comforting thought. Most wondered whether they should go back or not, mainly because they felt so fabulous and perfect in the existence that they were in. And I thought that was interesting, because if we have a choice of whether we want to come back or not, would we really want to? But it always seems like there's something for the people that have reported these, that there was a reason for them to come back. And maybe it was just to share their experience. Maybe it was to help a loved one. Maybe it was something that came down the road later, that they were in that experience and saved the day kind of thing. All of these things have happened for people. And even that neurosurgeon, Dr. Evan Alexander, he discovered a lot more things after that as a neurosurgeon. all of them loved the experience and felt the pure love of God. In fact, they shared that love was all we need. And I think that is huge because, I truly believe in sharing the love and knowing that it's important for us. And I think more and more people are becoming believers, if you will, of NDEs and having those experiences and knowing that is, the spiritual realm that we will enter when we do die or make our transition from this body. And to be aware of that, to me, is huge, because then it no longer becomes one of those questions of what will happen to my loved one when they're gone from here. If you think about the idea that we are having all these messages come to us saying this is what's going to happen, then I think that's comforting and also kind of like, wow, they will be free from whatever it is that has kept them tethered to this existence. But I love the similarities of the people speaking and them speaking words that sound like unity words. Everyone felt the need to share the message, even though most were reluctant in doing so because of what the people would think or how they would take it. And the other thing was that they used terms such as consciousness, oneness, and the fact that they came from God and were returned to God. A lot of religions have never heard those terms, and a lot of people never use those terms, but more and more people are using those terms that we have used here in Unity forever. So thinking about the idea that our connectedness is a lot closer than you realize, I think make you realize that I am is the I am in all of us, and that God is always here for us. And so there's nothing to stress or worry about. And I love the idea that love is the most important thing, because I think we are here to share the love, to be the love, and to know that we came from love. And that's huge. That can change a lot of things. It can instantly make you forgive. It can heal so many things in so many ways. And I do believe with these truths as grounding points, I hope we all can know we are one with God now and beyond life. Thank you for being here today. And it's going to be fun during fellowship, during our food time. We're going to have some discussion, and Bill's going to start out that discussion with some of the stuff he's read and reported on, and I think it's going to be a great discussion. I know all of you have stuff you want to share or ask questions about, and for those of you at home, I wish you were here. The song I chose today, Reverend Warren doesn't like this song, so he might have to. No, I'm just kidding. But I looked it up, and the reason why he wrote this song is this is what it said. He was inspired by his reading of the book of Ezekiel, where it speaks of the blue Shekinah light, which represented the presence of the Almighty God, and the books of Isaiah and Revelation, where it speaks of a bright future brotherhood of mankind living in peace and harmony. This is where he got his idea for the song. And the song is Crystal Blue Persuasion. And I just thought it was like, that song just kind of came to me when I started putting together my information for this message. And I thought, I love the song. And I think knowing this message behind it makes it a little bit deeper. But here's Crystal Blue Persuasion.